The centre of Kiev, I would say for a European city, it's shocking how little infrastructure there is for urban health, especially cycling. Pedestrian crossings, places for jogging, I mean it's gradually getting better. For me it's things like air pollution, which also I would say just from living there and experiencing it every day is definitely a problem. Yeah, it's infrastructure for things like cycling, walking, green spaces. Public awareness, I guess, as well. There are more social campaigns around health, but maybe not as many as there should be. Do something about traffic. Make the city more friendly for walking, for cycling, for jogging.
I work in the transport sector, so I work with transport planners and city planners to make sure that the city that we design in our transport system is a healthy one and helps people to live well. Healthy Streets is a framework that we use to try and improve all of our streets. So you don't get a healthy street and an unhealthy street. Every street can be healthier, but the way that you judge this is with 10 healthy streets indicators. So these 10 indicators are the things that we know are important for people, for them to be healthy, for them to have a good quality of life, and for them to be able to travel easily around the city. You need clean air to breathe, and you might need somewhere to stop and rest every once in a while. You might need some water to drink or somewhere to get changed. You don't want to be breathing filthy air from the fumes of cars. You probably want to be surrounded by other people walking and cycling and using public transport because that's a healthier city. You want interesting things to see and do when you're running. So all the 10 Healthy Streets indicators support a good experience running. And to get there, to get that good environment, we have to change the way that we manage cars in our cities, basically.
In my presentation, the focus was on walkability. So the key interest in walkability is trying to get people to move in a more active way, so active kind of transportation, because we sit a lot during the day, and if we could build in active mobility as a daily thing we do, that would really improve our health in general. Research found, I think it's about 1 to 1.2 kilometers is about the maximum someone would go on foot. After that it really becomes too long, and then they switch to other modes of transportation like bicycle or car. And of course, if you live in an area where a school, your job, a shop is really close by, like for instance 1 kilometer, you can go on foot to school and then the next kilometer to your job. But if it is too far, then you will get in your car, and this is really a problem because people who get into their car don't come out again.
But nowadays, if you want a place to actually work and kind of last in the long term and be sustainable, you have to involve the communities and the people who are living there. And it's not just for the sake of involving them, but actually that creates more successful spaces, and it's also a way to protect investment. So in the UK, where I'm from, there's lots of past development projects or housing projects which have failed, and they were built in past decades, and only because they weren't suitable for the types of people who live there. And so unless you really take time and invest in understanding what the people who you expect to use the places that you build, they're at risk, and so you could end up investing in a big housing program, building large high-rise houses, but actually that's not what people want. I think cities are classically a compilation of many communities in the same space, sharing a space. So on the one hand, it is people who live in one space together, but they are in turn then part of other communities, which can expand well beyond a city. So I think there needs to be an understanding of the complexity of what defines a community. Urban health, I think for me personally, it's a city which is healthy is one where everyone who lives there feels like they have a right and an ability to participate in that space.
Connecting some nice spots to run, it's a really good idea. Like parks or like pedestrian areas, but then you should really make a designated space for runners to go, because you're going at a higher speed than normal people, so people need to know where you are and what you are doing. In a city center, for me, what is very important is safety for runners, and also the air pollution can be very problematic. So I think if you look, for example, at a park like this, you have the road for people who are walking and people who are in a wheelchair, for example, or bicycles. But runners don't need this kind of infrastructure. Actually, when I go running, I prefer like a sandy underground.
If you're a citizen who's driving, then driving really well is the first and easiest thing you can do. So that means driving really slowly, being really courteous and friendly when people want to cross the street, staying calm when you're driving. That helps to make a street healthier, and we can all do that. So just driving really in a friendly, kind way. The second thing that we can do is really try to make an effort to walk or cycle the short journeys that we do in cars, because if you get out on the street walking, you find other people will start doing it too, and then you can start to show the city administration that actually people want a better environment for being out on the street. And the third thing is quite a small thing, but it's an important thing, which is that we can all do things that make our streets more interesting for other people, make them more lively, and it can be putting some plants in front of your house, or it can be having a street party, or having some kind of conversation with your neighbours out in the street, or even when it's a sunny day, just going and sitting out in the street. So,
for example, in my office there is a shower, so and we are allowed to go running over our midday break. As a spatial planner, urban health and urban quality, they come really close together. And for me, it's really about the most important thing is the mental health. How good you feel in an environment. How good can you live your life, meet other people? How well is the city suited for this? And of course, things like air pollution and noise, and these things are important to address. Well, I brought along my running gear, so perhaps tomorrow morning I can go